Hello everyone and welcome to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm also known as And More Central on the main channel. It's the same person, a different channel name, but the same voice, same person behind it. And you join us at Oatford School. Oatford on the map called, suitably called Oatford. We are currently sat at the school. It is about 8 minutes past 3 on a weekday on the map. And even though when this video comes out, not many schools, there's going to be no schools in the UK, especially. For this video, I wanted to take another spin in the lovely Volvo Olympian by V3D. And this time, because in more recent times, school buses, step entrance vehicles have been refined to sort of contract work like school buses, we thought we'd take it on a little bit of a school run. My favourite school run on this map, in fact, the SC1. Between Oatford School and Sheepton. The reason the SC1 is my favourite is, as you will see in a bit, you can absolutely floor the bus around the route, and it goes through some of the other sort of tight villages and things that the base 90 service that runs between the two places doesn't go through. So it's quite a nice route. It goes through my favourite places on the map, and it allows us a bit of a chance to see how good this bus is and see how fast it can go. So, a few bits before we do begin and sort of set off. Firstly, the vehicle itself is a Volvo Olympian Northern Counties Palatine by V3D. It is a public alpha release, or it was a public alpha release. It was released to the public as in an alpha stage development for a short period of time. The bus since then has been taken down, presumably because the developer V3D has now got enough people testing the bus and all of that lot before a final release, or it could be that he's working on another update to the alpha release, something like that. But at the moment the vehicle isn't available. If it does change, you will probably hear about it on the forums. Till then though, with the vehicle that I've got and the repaints that I've got and the fact that I do really like driving this bus, I will be bringing you a couple more videos over the next few weeks in between other vehicles and repaints and things, just to showcase the bus to get you all excited about it when it's properly released. So yes, just to get that out of the way, in the last video we drove the sort of the other variant that's related more to first bus liveries, and this one we're driving the stagecoach variation, or technically the stagecoach variation, because Stagecoach sold most of these P8 EFL vehicles on quite early, and one of them ended up with First Bus in Southampton, quite randomly, was one of the last Olympians that they ran. I mean, quite a few of them ended up there, but was one that was the last one, and then a few of them ended up with other companies. It's like, I've been on a couple of PEFLs. I think the last one I went on was P565 EFL, and with moving people in Lancashire. So we'll get the bus set up, and something that you will... hang on, there we go, I keep forgetting because it's been a while. It sets up like the ALX400 in the way that you press the electric click, click, click kind of thing all the way around, and then press M for the engine. That's why when we drove it in the previous video, it sounded like a B7 ALX400. That's because there were a few issues configuring, or the first time I drove it, there was a few issues with the sounds, i.e. the wrong sound file was in, the wrong sort of scripting. The right scripting file has now been put in, and as you can hear, it sounds very nice. So we'll get the blind loaded up. We'll get the lights on. I'm also going to get the arrows on because it has been a while since I've driven this route. It does sound very, very nice. The only thing I have noticed with it is sometimes it does like to slip gears when it's setting off. I think that might be down more to how quick I do accelerate at the moment.
Hello, sweetie.
Hello there.
Good day, driver.
It does sound very, very nice, and does the sounds on this, it must be said, now that they're working. You'll notice as well when we do set off, the bus is still limited to 40 miles an hour. Don't know if that's going to be in the final representation or not, or anything like that. But at the moment it is limited to 40. That does mean we'll get up to the top speed quite quickly and then stay there. So just bear that one in mind. A couple of other things while we're loading up people. The interior sort of different moquettes and like fabrics and things haven't been sorted, so this is just basic interior. Presumably that's given as an option on its final release. And you'll also notice that apart from this, I'm not going to show the interior that much because the pathing inside the vehicle hasn't been configured yet. So you will notice if I sort of end up panning the camera around, and like for example there are feet there and things like that. This will not be things that are represented in the final product. They're just here because this is sort of the alpha release. That's where we're going, because this is the alpha release. So it's not, as I say, representing the final product. Between now and its final release, the pathing will be sorted. You might have also noticed that people went back and then forward to the machine and stuff like that. All of this, including the pathing and things like that, will be sorted for the final release. This is why this is an alpha, and I cannot stress that. So anyway, it is time for us now to leave, so let's make a move. Now, for those of you who remember me driving this in the previous video that I did on the SC1, I drove it using the V7 RLE Bailey. The Eclipse 2, I believe it was in HX Connect, HD Connect, one of the connects it was in. And you'll notice I've thoroughly enjoyed that because I absolutely floored the living life out of us. Because what's quite nice about a school run, something like this, someone has introduced it's got a stop. But what's quite good about these kind of runs is because it's a closed door school run, and nobody's going to jump on the bus. It basically means that as soon as you picked up at the beginning stop, there's no sort of essential need to wait at timing points and things like that, because you're not going to pick anybody else up. So your main job is to obviously get everybody dropped off as quick as you can. And that's what I did in the last video. I don't think I'll do it as fast in this, because obviously, as I've mentioned already, this is Starter Limited, and that was a Euro 4 Eclipse. Euro 4 Eclipses are notoriously absolute rockets. Something else I must say I do absolutely love about this route is where it just pops out after the main centre of Oatford. So it's been structured in a way that even if OMSI wanted to be strange and say, oh, you've got to load passengers up, it wouldn't be possible anyway from the centre, because we totally omit it. So I think the lights just went on. So I felt that difference in lighting, I must say. Seems everybody's wanting to jump off quite early this time. I can't remember jumping off this early last time in this run. By the looks of it, we're also letting some people on. Gosh, this route has changed since I last did it. We've got people jumping on at the shops.
Hello, mate.
Not fair, I don't remember. In fairness, it has been a bit since I last drove it when I drove it on the OMSI Central channel. So I must have just forgotten these things, but as I said, I don't particularly remember anybody else jumping on. Are you letting me go? No, we'll still treat it like a closed door school run, even if people are not on. In fairness, even when school runs and things were public runs, as I probably discussed in the last time I did this route, even more relevant now, as it is actually relevant driving. They will have, even if they are sort of open door, the public can jump on the service to get from A to B, they still absolutely floor it around, because let's face it, you're not going to want to stick around the timing point for a potential customer that might or might not rock home. I've overshot that a little bit, but I'm putting that down to the fact that that light went on amber and I kept going, and kind of forgot I was driving the Olympian.
Good day, driver.
I'm going to be honest, I did kind of forget. What's quite nice about driving this is it sort of allows me to reminisce over the last Olympian runs that I did, sort of in Yorkshire, In Yorkshire we were quite lucky actually, because we had quite a number of Olympians that clung on to the very end. Quite a few other places saw the back of Olympians sort of as like 6 months to a year before the regulations changed. But West Yorkshire were very, very late with it. I mean, your obvious operator for that is First West Yorkshire. They, after the, basically, so at the end of the school season for 2016, so 2015-2016 academic year, when that finished, all of the Olympians initially got withdrawn, and then got transferred over to Cherry Road Depot, not for storage, because at the time it was used as a storage site, but for use on the Leeds Fest shuttles, because luckily enough that, at the start of that year, or the back end of the previous year, Geldard's coaches had gone under after running the previous Leeds Fest shuttles. That basically meant that First won the contract, and it was First Travel Solutions that won it, and they subcontracted primarily First West Yorkshire with all the buses because they knew all the Olympians were coming off. So they used all the Olympians, all of the other non-compliant vehicles on that work, and then after the end of Leeds Fest, when Leeds Fest finished up, August 2016, all the Halifax and all the Huddersfield Olympians got parked up, and then Bradford, quite randomly, you wouldn't think so, with now having the newest fleet age in West Yorkshire, because the small fleet of vehicles is not really old ones. I mean, in fairness, Leeds probably has the newest fleet age now, because they've got rid of their 54 planes, but Bradford were the first one to get rid of all of their old V7s because of the clean air zone. So you wouldn't think that Bradford were the place in autumn 2016 to take their Olympians back and use them primarily on school services, but also other routes that interworked in between, such as the Owlcourt Shopping Centre 714 that was interworked between schools, and the Queensborough 610 services, that were basically a couple of round trips a day, and a couple of single trips here and there at peak time. And they were interworked off school runs, so they got an array of the WCWR ALX 400 B7s. It's a move that I could have done if I'd have had the B7. I'm gonna have to wipe out the front of that car. We're not going to look because that was the car ever, not mine. Car pulling out onto junction where it doesn't have priority, and then me. Because I'm used to driving this with the veiling, I am getting used to how much of it feels like I'm driving some sort of cruise line going down these bends. It doesn't have the same agility is probably the best word as the veiling, but that's an Olympian for you. It certainly doesn't have the same agility. But yeah, they got their Olympians back in autumn, used them on those services, and then withdrew them in December. And I was the lucky person, not to brag, but the lucky person to go on the last public run by a Volvo Olympian, or any step entrance bus for that matter, within First West Yorkshire, as it operated on a shopper contract in Bradford. So I was very, very lucky on that front. Right place, right time kind of thing as you do.
Hello.
And that was the last one there.
Ah,
but
yeah.
It's very, very easy to forget that just round the corner from the first operation in Bradford was Keith, Transdiv Keith. And Transdiv Keith actually kept their Olympians on into 2017. And the way that they kept them on into 2017 was, even though I've just done what that car driver did to me, that van decided to let me go, and the preceding car driver as well. But yes, Transdev in Keighley kept them on school runs, and the school runs remained open door services, and they were 996, 965, 966, 967 school runs, and that the Olympians were predominantly used on. And then in 2017, those same school runs were renumbered to 400 series and became closed it allowed them to have a bit of a loophole around the legislation with low-floor buses on public services, so they could continue using the Olympians. And if memory serves me well, they used them pretty much to near the end of the academic year. They've had them at least up until the spring. The Olympians, obviously not all of them survived at the end of 2016, but they still kept a small number of them with shorter buses. Now that might be a nice screenshot. There we go, I mean, that'll do as a screenshot. It's not. I do miss having my usual zooming camera.
Jesus, it's like it's alright,
don't worry. Yeah, limited to 40 is not particularly ideal, please. But yeah, the trams have kept theirs on, and theirs were H ranges. Everybody got excited with the R ranges, all of that lot that first was had, but it was actually R and T ranges. But Transdev was still running H ranges at the same time, and the H ranges were very, very nice vehicles. I mean, the last place, top of my memory, that I've been on an Olympian in public service, and probably going to be the last one I will ever manage. Quite sad to say, but these things happen. In a proper public service, and I don't mean as in like a private tour, a private contract or something like that. A proper service run, be it, as long as it's public, be it like a contract that you pay for, not just like a free bus depot. The last one was Shoreline Sun Cruisers on the 555 service. It was our 661 JNO, Volvo Olympian X-double in example. I had that on the 555 between Scarborough and Filey, right place, right time again, and they put it out 2 years ago actually. It was, I think it was 2020, if memory serves me correctly. Come on, brakes. I believe it was 2020. And they had to use it on the 555 as it was slightly shorter buses during the summer, and it was sort of a depot thing. That's why they kept that Olympian on, got shut up the rest. And yeah, it went on that and did a round trip to Filey back. That bus, since then, it was quite a sad demise actually of that vehicle, because that same said bus has now been destroyed at Buxton Raceway in one of their bus demolition derby races. But in fairness, on sort of the perspective that I look at it, having been on it, and it was a very, very nice bus. It was one of the Olympians that didn't seem to have any problems, like sometimes with age you wouldn't expect Olympians and stuff like that, being rather old buses now, over 20 years old at least, to sort of have a couple of issues and sound a bit rough. But that was an absolutely tremendous motor. It did a very, very good job on the day I went to it, on the route I did, because it was a fast road route as well. There is a video on the Andmore Bus Videos channel on it, and there probably will be actually one releasing here very soon. I do have a video in the stores on it, and that might be one of my random videos that releases over the sort of short-term period. I can't remember when this video is releasing, that's why I can't answer that on the top of my mind. But yeah, it was an interesting one, because it was a shame to obviously see it in Buxton Raceway get destroyed, but sometimes these things, obviously not everything can be saved, and there was nobody interested in anybody else buying it, so that was its demise, and at least at the period of time, and if you watch it back on YouTube, there's plenty of videos on YouTube, it was something very different. It was a very nice day out. I had a couple of friends of mine that went over. They enjoyed the day out, so at the end of the day, it is what it is. But yeah, that was my last Olympian experience. It serves me on many in preservation, as you'll have seen on the main channel. Oh, I was going to grab some food then, and the bus went over the curb. Whoops. Let's see. been a mini preservation, as you'll have seen on the other channel, that have all been rather nice buses. It is always obviously nice to have a handful of vehicles saved, and yeah, Olympians were the last pension vehicles predominantly in public service in the UK, but at the end of the day, we need to save other things, and it's like Eclipses are now the main interest point for many people. And I fully understand, because it's this idea of what you grow up with. Me, was growing up with the Leyland and Volvo Olympians, a bit more predominantly there. Predominantly more than the Eclipses. Yes, the Eclipses played a important part afterwards, because the Olympians stopped being in more regular service, but I remember going on the Olympians a lot. I remember going on the Leyland ones and the Volvo ones, and for me that was what I remember. I remember going on them, Solos, B7Ls, those kind of things. But no, I do keep lurching this round bends like it is a B7R Elite Bailey. That I probably shouldn't. I've also kind of realised in this video just how much I do actually fling that bus round bends. Because trying to do the same in this and then just feeling it lean is actually quite a scary thing, I'm gonna be honest. Sorry, we won't make it there in one piece, that's what matters. But the next thing that will be coming off, just like Olympians did, is going to be the Tridents. I mean, first really on with their colour B7s, and it's B7s now, Tridents next, and that's where it's going. But the thing is sort of stuff like B7s and Tridents, they're still replacing Olympians in parts, because some operators still use Olympians on like school services and on contracts, and yeah, they are becoming rare to find. But operators that just love working with that type of bus are still using them, because at the end of the day, if they work, why replace it? If why replace it? But obviously, if contracts are a bit more demanding, and all of the second-hand, very cheap B7s and Tridents, it will be quite unsurprising when they sort of start replacing them. Because what you've always got to consider with vehicle replacements and things like that is they sort of happen in stages. It's sort of everything gets replaced on the main front. So you get like the big likes of Stagecoach first, Arriva, Go Ahead, drawing their Olympians and things like that, and that's your first stage. And then your second stage is the independence. The independent stage can be quite a fair bit of time after the sort of initial stop. Can be a fair bit behind after the initial withdrawal by the big companies. So it's like, and there's still not as many now, but there's still a small handful of operators running Olympians, and they'll start going out soon, and then there'll be probably no Olympians left in use, in the same way that it's like there's no Leyland Leopards still in daily school service anyway. That kind of theory behind it. And these will get replaced by B7s, and yes, the B7s will stop running with big operators and become rare to find, but independents will run with more and more. And it's that kind of rotation, that kind of thing. So it's all very interesting when you look into it. It's hopefully a bit more interesting than what I'm making it out to be. I'd rather that There we go, that's the lights. They didn't look like they're on. Let's try that again. Because we've gained there because we already pulled out and that car pulled round me. I'd say round it just went through me, that car, even though I reversed out of their way. Again, as much as I love doors like this, that is a big blind spot. And as you can see with that car, you couldn't see that car until it was there. So if you ever wonder why you sat on the bus and the driver opens the doors, that's why. Because that middle bit can be a very, very hefty blind spot. And it's quite lucky in the way that I could get past it, or it could get past me and take it wanted to. How early are we? We're only not even just over 4 minutes early. Not as early as I wanted to be.
Oh my god.
At least we've brought a busload of people in, so that's not too bad.
Where the hell did you learn to drive?
Thank you, there you go, and on that note, you can get off bus. I'll take this up to the depot now. I know it's scheduled to do a 90, but I'm using this on the 90. There we go, let's get rid of that. The kind of place you keep an Olympian like this. I mean, de-brand it and brand it up for some independent operator, and this would be the kind of spot on base for it. Doing a school run like this, come back, put it in stagecoach livery, or sort of partially painted over stagecoach livery as companies do. And this could definitely be the outstation for an operator. There we go, and that was the SC1. Oh, the engine will stay on because it's not able to switch off yet, but that's that. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. It was a nice one to drive, even though the 40-mile-an-hour limiter was a thing, and I overshot a couple of bus stops because, yeah, it's a school run, and I'm probably not as switched on as I would have been if we're doing a service run, so I wasn't expecting the people to jump on the bus. But overall, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the sounds of the Olympian. I enjoyed driving it. Not as much as I enjoyed driving the Veiling on this route. The B7, the Arvalese Eclipses, I do much prefer them on this route to this Olympian. But either way, the Olympian's still nice. I think I prefer driving the Olympian on the X35 on West Country. So I'll have to show you that in a video at some point soon. But yeah, for now, this is what it is. So, yeah, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the And More Bus Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section and sort of transport simulators, OMSI 2 and much more, as well as an archive of over 4,500 backseat and engine-focused videos of real-life buses from around the UK and beyond. from the past and present. There's a video of a bus in there for everyone, including quite a lot of vehicles that are no longer with us, such as Olympians. So do go and check out those archives if you haven't already. And be sure to subscribe to my main channel and More Central for more content from the real life bus industry, where I go around review parts of it and assess it all and explore the bus world in the UK and beyond, as well as some of my brand new series such as the return of Talking Buses. Once again, though, I would like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.